hope that old man got that tractor beam out of commission, or this is going to be a real short trip. Okay, hit it!
Hey there, everyone. How's it going? Jason is joining us in a minute. He's setting up right now. How do you like my hat? So this is the Imperial Naval Officer, I think, basically known as the cheese grater. It's really nice, actually. It's cool. I want it off the hyperdrive, and Christian sent it to me. And I just got it yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to open it till today. And I brought it with me to my luxurious hotel. And I thought I'd try it on, show it to you. Thank you, Christian. It's pretty freaking awesome. I won it in a contest. I didn't know it was a contest, and people were putting up pictures of the collection. So, all right, I'll just put my collection up. I had no idea it was a contest. So I guess it was based off of how many comments and likes you got for your pictures, and I won. So I just got this. It's really cool. Like, it's made of ABS plastic. It's made by Far Away Creations. And from what Jason tells me is that they actually made these and some other helmets for Rogue One. So there's kind of there's some lineage there, I guess. It's a cool helmet. I like it. It's pretty comfortable too. It's not too bad. I probably won't wear it. I'm not going to wear it too much longer. I just want Jason to see it. There he is. Yo, what's up?
Hey, check it out.
You like it?
I dig it. That's a big hat, brother. That's a big hat.
I got a big head, so it fits perfectly. I had it on the other day for my wife, and she was just like, what is that? And you got to admit, it's a weird helmet. It is. It's pretty bizarre. And it looks silly on. But for some reason, it works. Well, it looks not so bad when you turn sideways. But straight on, you look like a flying nut.
When I see that, all I hear is that sound effect that goes.
Yeah, with
like
the levers.
That's yeah, exactly.
I almost feel like I have to display it sideways because it looks much cooler sideways than front on.
That's interesting, huh?
It is. It's pretty bizarre. Now there's a liner I got to put on the inside. I just I have to figure out how to do that.
You just need your black jumper overalls. You good?
What?
You just need your black jumper overalls and you're good.
Yeah, I could be a snow trooper or a what is this? An Imperial Naval officer. It's not a naval officer, right? It's an Imperial Naval what?
Well, yeah. I mean, if this was in the Star Wars universe, you'd be the gopher, so you'd be in that uniform, not the snow trooper.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, like, what is this actually called?
I don't know. Imperial gunner? Imperial naval something?
It's not the gunner. It's not the Imperial gunner. That's the one with that looks like a robot kind of head, but that's an Imperial Naval something. I don't think it's an officer because the officers have the suits on. These are just the technicians.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. It's gonna be put on my helmet shelf somehow. I think it'll be easier.
Can you imagine having been one of the guys where they start busting out these costumes and they're like, "Hey, put this on," and you're just like, okay.
You know, there was a lot of jokes about how stupid it looks.
Well, I mean,
This
when you watch
looks
the documentaries, right? I mean, we can get into that a little bit, but they're just like all the jokes that were made about whether or not the movie would succeed. Is this like silly kids movie? And this is a reason why. Costumes like
yeah,
this.
this helmet, if I showed up on set and they gave this to me to put on, I'd be like, what D-rated movie am I getting involved in here? Like, seriously, it
Mhm.
is weird. On the side, I like it a lot. Front on, not so cool. But
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting piece.
it's not. I thought it was going to be much bigger. It's long, which, like I said, displaying it sideways will actually. I now know how I'm going to put it. I'm not how I'm going to display it. So, I'm going to apologize right ahead of time. I am in a hotel, and this chair creaks like hell. So it's going to get annoying.
No. Oh,
Yes, I'm telling you, it's bad. I try not to move around too much, but
you couldn't ask the front desk for some WD-40?
I could, but I didn't.
You gotta think of these things ahead, man.
I just sat down in it, really, and I'm like, oh, some bitch is gonna annoy the hell out of me. But
We'll be all right.
well,
We'll make it through. We'll be all right. We'll do all right.
I'm gonna take this off. As sexy as I look in it, I'll have to take it off. Right. So did I wake you?
You did, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's all right. I was prepared.
Good. I thought for sure you were
I
gonna
tell you,
sleep through.
as much as I enjoy it, it does beat getting a call at 2 a.m. or 2:30 a.m. for a 3 a.m. Andor watch.
Oh hell no. Although I did just watch Andor. It is
Dude, do we have to talk about that later?
all right. It is so freaking good. I can't get over how good this show is. It's just it
That monologue was one of the
oh yeah.
just hands down one of
What's
the
his
best.
name? What's his name?
Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, but what's his screen
Oh,
his
I don't know his
character name?
character's name. I don't know. I'm not sure.
He's great. He's great, and he's the best part of the whole show. I mean, it's such a well done adult TV Star Wars show. It's Star Wars done for adults. It's not
That
goofy.
is writing. That's what I call good writing.
Yes, good writing, good dialogue, no stupid stuff like Wampa, like Rancors climbing
like Godzilla.
walls. Yeah, just come on, man. I want an adult show, and I'll be honest, this is the show that I was least interested in because I wasn't a huge fan of the character Andor.
Everybody says that.
He was kind of blah in Rogue One. I thought he was the least interesting character in Rogue One. Well, besides like the pilot and
I liked him. They call it a planet killer.
did he say that?
Cassian's a little. Yeah, I mean, I get it when you have somebody like Jin and you have Chirrut and Baze. Like I get it, but
They're both way more interesting.
yeah.
And K2SO. And
And
his story wasn't. I mean, they wanted you to believe he was this badass, and yeah, he killed some dude, but like, they didn't really set too much of that up for you. Even this doesn't make it seem like he's this hard-edged. I mean, there's a lot of years yet until Rogue One. Wasn't there like 6? I think this is set 6 years before Rogue One, right?
Give or take, yeah.
I mean, I even like the what's the girl, Deidre, the Imperial officer, the security officer. I think she's fantastic. I there's nobody I don't like in the show, and there's no. They did have one stupid joke in the beginning, in the first one. Some dog walks by and pees on the droid, the little red droid. But that was the only thing that was like, all right, come on, get off the poop and pee humor in Star Wars. It's old.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to, man? I honestly have been so busy. I haven't hardly worked at all in my shop. I've just been putting styrene skin on my sandcrawler, and that's it.
Yeah.
I've been basically, living vicariously through John. He's been showing me and talking to me a lot about his Endor background ship. So I've been working on models through him, vicariously. So I would, after this week, it should start slowing down a whole lot, and I'll be able to really get in there and start doing things. I got a couple projects that I want to get started. What have you been up to?
I've actually just been researching a lot. Just aggregating a bunch of information, pulling out some old books that I haven't looked at in a while, going through some images and references that I've accumulated over the years, and just kind of taking some notes and moving things around. And yeah, it's just been
Anything in
just been
particular you're researching?
no, I just looking at a few different ships, looking at A Wing and B Wing, getting a little bit more into detail on those. Been collecting more kits, as you know, doing a lot of that, buying a lot more kits as they come up. And then yeah, just more so that than really working directly on anything specifically. I mean, I still have a few things on the bench that just need to cross my T's and dot my I's that are pretty much done, as we've been talking about the last couple days. TIE Fighter, I've been working on that for a while, but that was a tricky one because it was a lot of like, is this a kit part or was it scratch built? And a lot of times you can look at a model and it's you can start to discern when something was pulled from a kit or whether it was scratch built based on like the uniqueness of the piece, the complexity of the piece, the logic of the piece. Does this make sense that it would have been scratch built to put this much work into it? And the tie is a unique example of that because there's pieces where you would just automatically assume there's no way they sat and scratch built this little part. And then you find out, wow, they did. And it just adds so much more work and time for something that's so little or offers so little in the way of bringing the piece together. Um, so studying that, and that kind of goes back to why I was sort of trying to look for additional info and things like that on other ships, just to get a better idea of, making things start to finish as original as possible. I think it's fair to say, since the last few shows that we've been on, and we've both mentioned this, that we're steering away from like 3D printed stuff or resin cast kits. Not that there's anything wrong with them or I have anything against them, but it's gotten to a point where pricing, if you do the due diligence and you take your time and you do it right, scratch building and buying the donor kits tends to equal out to pretty much the same price. Not the same, not the same. I mean, you're paying a little bit more, but it's not enough to make you want to back away from the project. And we were just saying this, I think a day or two ago. I forget what project we were talking about. And we said, hey, I think we were saying, not a lot of people would do that. And I said, well, think about a year and a half, 2 years ago from today. What would be your perspective on seeing that? And you're like, yeah, I would have thought exactly that it would have been too complex or too costly, right? As far as putting the time and the effort in. But when you take your time and you do these things, you look out for certain kits, and you play the game with patience and due diligence, you'd be surprised what you can actually put together. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's just trying to finish up a few things and get a few other things together and ready to go.
My problem is patience.
You have none. You have none.
I have none. No, I want all the kits now, and I want to have
everything
them
done yesterday.
Yes, and I do take my time when I'm working on something. It's not like I'm rushing through something. That's one thing. But finding out all the information, making sure that I have everything that I need, is a priority for me because I hate sitting and waiting for something to come to me.
Dude, if I had a nickel for every like, send me that picture, send me that picture, did you send me that picture?
Well, that's because you don't ever send them. That's why I'm always like,
No,
I've
I
been
do,
asking
but
for
you
those
just
pictures of your
you
TIE
want everything.
fighter all day today, and you
Well,
didn't send me
here's the
any.
best part. No, you want everything instant, but then you get something. Once you finally get something, then it's just like it gets, as long as you have it, it's just put aside and you're working on what you're
Listen,
working on. And I'm like, but you're not getting to that tomorrow or the next day. So like when you're like, oh, I gotta find this kit. I gotta see if this guy will sell this. I gotta see if this is available. And then you get the kits in, and I'm like, well, were you even working on that? You're like, no, but I want the piece. You are impatient.
I am. I am. I'm really getting a little aggravated right now. And okay, so the sandcrawler, I've skinned it. I still have to plate it, which I actually may not be as hard as I thought it was going to be because I just okay. So it's skinned with 1 millimeter, and then you plate it with 3/4 millimeter,
Mhm.
0.75 millimeter styrene. So then I just retrace. I cut the pieces of the 1 millimeter to glue on, and then I also before I glued it on, I traced that piece onto a 3/4 styrene and cut it out. So I automatically already have the shape, the final puzzle shape. All I got to do is cut the cut them up so they fit in, fit all the pieces on. So I don't know if that's going to be as difficult as I thought originally. I thought it was going to be a bear, but it may not be that bad. But once I get that done, though, it's going to sit because I don't have a lot of the kits, and I have hardly any of the kits, and a lot of them are kind of difficult to come by, especially like Panther G. I need a lot of
Mhm.
them, and I only have two. So to I need 8. I still need 6 more, and I haven't found any in over a month on eBay or anywhere. So that's going to be a waiting game, and it's going to bother me, but it's going to make me learn a little bit of patience.
Yeah. And that
But I
that's I,
do,
that can be frustrating, right? But
yeah.
we also know that this is a project that you're not going to knock it out in a week or two. I mean, this is a pretty big piece
Mhm.
compared to, some other things where once you have everything together, and even if you did have all the kits, it's a very timely build because there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of logistics that go into breaking these pieces down and putting them in the right spots. But I think this is one of those builds that's going to be well worth it, and I think that the time and effort put into it is going to definitely pay off in a much bigger way than most builds you've done so far.
Well, what's going to be cool about it though is that I'm gonna have it all ready. It's gonna be like a blank canvas. You just like I put on the ones that I have. I went after the ones that I know are the base layer, right? Like some of
Yeah.
the things on the back. Um, and then as I can just look online, and as I find a kit, get it, pop pieces on, find another kit, pop pieces on. As I'm just, it's just gonna sit in my basement until I find a kit, and then just pop those couple pieces on. It'll be time consuming. It'll take a long time. But once I have it actually built and ready, I'm gonna prime it with a white or a light gray, and then start putting the kit parts on. Um, but I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with all these boxes of kits. My garage isn't. It's the size of it's a 2-car garage, and my wife has one side of the garage for a car, and the other side is where I have my workshop. So it's not all that big. It's the size of a 1-car garage, and it's filling up with kit parts. Ask Steve. He walked in. He even said it on the show. He's like, "Yeah, I can see you have a lot of kit parts here, a lot of kits, and they're starting to stack up and take up space on the shelves." And we talked about it before. Space Saver, Jason Eaton had said that he puts them in Tupperware containers after he puts them in, Ziploc baggies. And I
Yeah,
thought
it
about
breaks it
that.
down.
I thought about that, but I really like how they look in the boxes, and it'll help me recognize instead of just looking at a plastic bag that's marked, to
Well,
me,
that's also the problem. Remember, we discussed it's like seeing it on the shelf, okay, this is this tank or this car and
mhm,
this size and this scale. It's much easier to identify and pull what you need as far as a
mhm.
library of pieces. But I mean, yeah, there's ways of breaking them down and going through them that way. But yeah, there's something to be said for collecting the kits and the aesthetic that they have, and there's a little nod back to the way they did it. So there's something refreshing about looking up on your shelf and seeing a stack of tanks and boats and planes and race cars, and it's
Yeah,
it's it's part of the fun. It's
it
part of
is
the.
part of the fun. It's also problematic too. So,
It is.
it's
Some of
not.
these boxes don't get, yeah, some of them are pretty big, and that's not saying some of the larger standout. Even, when you start getting into a lot of the cars and, the 112s and 1.8s, they're a decent size. And they
Sure.
do start to, even the smaller tanks, they do start to pile up.
Yeah, I thought I had a picture of like uh the workshop, like ILM's workshop, with a whole bunch of kits behind it. I'd have to send it to myself off my phone. Um, but yeah, I mean, we really don't have any subjects we wanted to talk about tonight. More along the lines of just getting on. I mean, we don't get to get on as much as we used to, and I feel like we need to get on more often
Hmm.
because like you and I talk daily about all this stuff, but that also works against us because then we are talking daily, and the stuff we talk about we could talk about on a show or something like that, but it's it's
Correct.
it's been hectic lately to get on for myself, at least I know that. um and I know I have a picture here somewhere. I'm going to send it to myself. Oh, there it is. Beautiful. Actually, I'm going to send it to you, and I'm going to steal it. So here we go. Share screen. This one. Share. Put in there. So I mean, look at all those shelves. That's. I mean, I even like mine. I even have more than that. So, and that's all. Look at all those boxes are all opened up, and they're working on the Millennium Falcon. You see a lot of those are Panther G tops, tops of the hull, and um, I thought I could zoom in on these, but I can't. What's cool about these pictures though is that you get to look at them and you can look and see. All right, well, there's a lot of kits back there that they used, and they have to be. It helps you to figure out what kind of kits they used at the time, so you can buy them as well and put them on your have them on your shelf to pick through as you're building things.
Hmm.
But I thought I could zoom in on this, but I can't. I don't have it in my. I can save it. Let's just save it on my desktop. Save it. I can bring it up. Those are my kids. There we go. So yeah, there's like Tyrell, Ford, Texaco, Marlboro. That's what there's a BMW motorcycle. Lots of Panther
Yeah,
G
some
right
of
there.
those are used for the helmets too, and some body armor.
There's a big Panther G. I don't know that. I don't know which one that is. The Harrier. There's a couple of big Panther Gs. Do you know what kind that is?
No.
What is it? It's not Tamiya. So yeah, here they're building a 5-foot live Falcon, and those are Panther G parts. It's got to be pretty impressive to see a Millennium Falcon, a 5-foot Millennium Falcon that is all kit parts like Stewart's.
Yeah.
You know, So, Logan, if you're if you're online, he had asked me earlier about talking about a Slave One. If you're watching, just let us know that you're in the comments. I'm assuming when you had asked about us to talk about Slave One, I'm assuming you mean you have a Nyson kit that you're working on. What was his question? It was paints,
The
technique.
paints.
So ArchiveX actually has a package of all the colors that you would need for Slave One. If you're looking for a list of them, can you guys talk a bit or link the colors needed? Thanks.
Yeah, we can go over them. I know them off the top of my head at this point, which is sad,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so 15,
I don't
14,
remember.
15 of them.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact names of them.
I do.
What's
which
that
is sad.
new? What's that new company that's selling them? New
I
what?
don't remember. It's like new type graphics.
New Type.
Yeah,
They're the U.S.
but I know you
seller.
got, just real quick, if this helps. There's the Weyerhaeuser green. Is
So
that how
let's
you
start
say
from the
it?
base. Let's start from the base. Okay. The base
Well,
is
I'm gonna go because there was so many greens. I was just gonna like do the greens. I was
there's
gonna do it that way.
two. There's three.
Well, you have the light green, the gray green,
I didn't use light green on
coach
mine.
green.
I used
Huh?
I didn't use light green at all. I used Weyerhaeuser green. Um, let me find the list. I can't remember them off the top of my head. Go ahead. You can talk. You can mention them.
Hey, I'm trying to remember the website. I should know the website at this
New
point.
Type.
New
New
type.
Type.
Okay, new type.
Yeah, they're the new distributor for ArchiveX in the United States. And I don't know, I don't know if they still have the kits, the groups. I see individuals, but they don't have like package deals. Oh wait, they're there. They're at the bottom of the website. So Logan, a good thing to do is go on to ArchiveX Paint Facebook group, and on there, Guy kind of does a walkthrough of the formula to painting Slave One. There it is. That was invaluable to me because I kind of thought I had an idea of how it should go. Oh man, they're in ArchiveX numbers, not the names. Damn it. Oh, there they are. Glasses. Don't know where they're at. All right, so we start with the base coat, which is the surface gray, right? And then you spray on the Weyerhaeuser green.
Mhm.
Okay. And I made the mistake of not doing that dark enough because once you missed the gray and the green. Okay, so you put the gray on, you mask it off for all the scars, you spray on the Hauser, and then you make that dark because what you do after that is you mist it with dark grime. And if you don't go dark enough on the green, it kind of like brings the bright gray and the green to like the same level. If you go too high on one or too low on the other, when you spray the grime on it, it kind of turns the bright gray. I don't know how to describe it. You have to play with it. Okay. Because I did it. I messed it up the first time. I didn't spray dark enough on the green. And after I misted it, the gray came up, but then the green went too light. So I had to completely start over. There's reefer white on it. There's engine black, which that I used for just a wash on the one wing well. There's rust for details and weathering. Dark grime is what you miss the whole thing over with. Lark dark is for like the streaks and black spots. The Aurora pink is the second coat that you put on the skirt, and then you have to mask it off, and then the boxcar red goes over top of that. Wire hides are green gray.
When you start to get to
wing
those
well.
levels, that's where it's good. I always recommend, Chris, that's where it's good to practice on just sheets of styrene and get a feel for, because you don't want to oversaturate. You don't want to have too little or too much, too little opacity, and you want the colors to blend right, and you want a good amount of curing in between. So there's certain ones that you want to hit one after another. There's some where you want to give some time in between. So as you start to get to that point where you're layering and masking, I would definitely do some testing first. Get comfortable with it. That's the biggest thing. Because if you have to repaint it, you don't want to do the whole shit. Yeah, if you have to repaint it, it's doable, but you want to avoid having to repaint large areas. If you have to redo a small area, not a big deal. But
especially Jason, especially like the top where all the scarring is. If you have to redo that, you have to put all that liquid latex back on.
Yeah,
I did it twice. It was not fun. No, and don't look at it as a whole. Okay, do it in sections. Like, do the wings right separately. I did each section separately. I did the top hull, right, and then I did the wing wells, because both wing wells are actually done differently. They're different techniques on both sides and different colors. They're very different. And like I said before, there's like, I would have never thought that you put this green down and then you go over it with a wash of the engine black, and then you mask it, and then it's very complicated. And if you really want to do it the right way, check out ArchiveX Paint website, Facebook page, because he has a couple posts in there that describe it. And if I didn't find that, I don't think mine would have looked half as good as I think it is. Because there's a certain formula that you kind of need to do to get Slave One to look like it does, because it's the layers that make it look the way it does.
Yeah,
I know a lot of
similar to the helmet.
Yeah, similar to helmet, and the layers build on top of each other. So like, nothing against people who do their own color mixing, but I feel like if you're trying to get like the wings to look a certain color and just paint it that color, it's not going to look right. I feel like with the layering of the flocal paints, like the wings, you start out with the gray, and then you spray it with yellow, and then you mist it with you spray it lightly with the reefer white, and after that you spray it with dark grime, and those layers build on top of each other, which gives you the color that you're looking for, rather than mixing a paint one single jar to look like that color. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
That's just my opinion. I'm sure there's a lot of people who say, "Oh, you're full of shit. You can mix this paint, and it'll, that's do it how you want to do it."
I also think, though, Chris, there's a difference between whether or not you're using enamels. If you're using acrylics, that would also, it won't make a huge difference, but depending on how heavy you go in, how quickly you tend to mix and mask. But I guess the enamels isn't a big deal because they're not; those aren't available right now, right?
They're not. No.
They're not.
And
okay.
I bought a whole bunch of them before, and I'm glad I did, because I prefer to do all my spraying with acrylics. Okay, I like enamels much more, but I'm not going to waste a whole jar of what I have left
For
when I can get
coverage,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, for coverage, when I can get the same look with an acrylic. But for like the weathering and thinning the paint and staining and putting streaks and stuff like that, I use the enamels because I just don't like how the acrylics. I mean, a lot of people use them and do it fine. It's just I tend to not do as well when I'm weathering with acrylics.
I prefer enamels.
So do I.
Again, coverage for acrylics is fine. If I'm working with detail or specific colors, I there's just a different feel to enamels. But that's a
Mhm.
whole nother beast. I mean, that's a conversation for another time because we can go into the whole.
It really is a pointless conversation because you can't get
Yeah,
the enamels anyways. So there's really no point. People are gonna just have to learn to use the acrylics to weather. I was just lucky enough to
which
have
is
a whole
fine.
bunch left.
Which
Yeah.
is fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So Logan, good luck with that. I don't know how your skill set is with painting.
Yeah, and if you have any
Like
questions on the build, man, feel free to ask on the page or
yeah, yeah. It's not an easy one, that's for sure. Although I feel like painting it, it's a beast itself. Getting the right look and everything. Building it is way more of a beast. Cleaning it and making sure you figuring out that you have all the parts. That was not something I enjoyed. Which this one from Merlin Models is actually, if I what 2 years ago, I wish to
Mhm.
God I had Merlin Models make me one, because remember how much I get so aggravated that I had no idea what parts were what, and I didn't even know what parts I was supposed to have.
Oh, just figuring out the simplest of things was
Yeah,
a task in and of itself.
yeah, yeah. So I wish some people would ask us some questions in the comments, but we don't really have too many people watching. Oh
Well, I
well.
think I think like I said before, with these are unexpected. It's a Wednesday evening at 11. Um, we're usually not going to get the views until after, but
Yeah.
no, that's fine. That's fine.
I was just gonna do work on two projects and not do any commissions, but I think I'm gonna do a couple um, cloud car and a Y wing, maybe even a sand crawler. It's just been getting asked a lot to do some things, and I don't want to get burned out with doing commissions. But like I've explained to you a couple times, if I do two of the same thing, especially if it's something that I want as well, like a Y wing,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me as much. Um, like the A wing, I built those two A wings, and I wasn't 100%. You remember way back,
Hmm.
even the Lassie Henning one, I thought was too big for my collection. And I was building them, and it was kind of, I wasn't as like have to get into the garage and start working on these things. I worked on them, and I did them, but it wasn't like a passion project for me, like the silo was, or Slave One was. Um, but like I gonna do two cloud cars, one for me and one for Christian. Um, and I like the cloud car a lot. I wish it was smaller, like we talked about before. I don't like the big A wings, big studio scale cloud cars. I prefer the little ones. Now that being said, I don't want a little Slave One or a little Sandcrawler. I want like an A wing to be small or a cloud car to be small. You know, um, but a Y wing, I actually am looking forward to working on, because I've wanted one for years, and I've had a kit for a while, and I just never got to build it because I wanted to do two at a time. So if anybody knows where I can find me a Y-wing kit, a nice one, or preferably not 3D printed. I'd rather not use a 3D print, but I think I need to find myself a kit. You there?
Well, there you go. I mean, that'll be worth it to do 2 in tandem.
Yeah. You feeling all right?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
It's not getting sick.
Oh, a little bit. A little on the low, but I'm all right.
So, yeah. Anything else you wanted to talk about, Jason?
No, just I was looking forward to. I know we haven't set up a time yet, but I was looking forward to taking some time and going through some images. I know we were planning on doing that last Friday, but scheduling didn't align. And in the meantime, I've just been going through all the pics that I've had or pics that other people have shared and things that I've accumulated, like I said, through books or through online, and it's been finding a lot of interesting things. Today, what a fluke that was, right? With the whole hexagonal TIE fighter. Things like that. So I've been looking forward to getting around to when we get to sit down and go through a batch of images and just talk. Talk shop.
We had planned on getting online with John to discuss. It was his idea, really, to discuss, go through a bunch of old ILM pictures and talk about what was going on in there, what we think was going on, because I don't know about you, but I love all the juicy behind the scenes stuff, the real stuff, not the documentary roses stuff. I want to hear the juice that was on like Vice,
This is how it really happened.
Yeah, perfect example.
Not the scripted reality TV.
Yeah, perfect example is that one picture, Jason, that I've asked you about, is the girl with her hand in the Millennium Falcon. She's got this smile on her face, and there was like a whole bunch of dirty jokes going on at that time when they did that. That's the stuff I like to hear about. Like even what's her face, who had the gangrene on her finger. With the art that Rob was telling us about.
That was a story I never expected to.
No, we're gonna plan on a day. It'll be in the morning because John is over in the UK, and it was gonna be this Friday, but Jason had to bail on us.
Excuse me?
Yeah. It was funny because, like I had the day off from work and, I'm planning it out for Jason and John. We're all planning on doing it. And Jason's like, don't you back out on me. I got an important appointment that I cannot miss. I'm like, I won't. As long as my boss doesn't call me and say, I got to go to New York, I'll be there. Don't you know, that morning, he texted me. Was it that morning or the day before?
No, that morning. Oh, no, it was the night morning? Before. The night before.
It was the night before. And he texted me. He's like, hey, I need you to go to this emergency job. I'm like, oh, shit. I said to my wife, I'm like, Jason's going to kill me. He's going to call you up. I'm like, dude, don't be mad at me. What'd you do? I got to cancel tomorrow. Oh, you son of a bitch.
I knew it.
So we're gonna try for one day next week. That'll be a fun one. John usually has like an hour he has available to jump on. So we're just gonna go through some.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I said, hopefully, if it goes well, and I don't want to jump ahead of ourselves, but hopefully, if it goes well, it's something that we may also be able to do at Rob as well.
Yeah. Like we had talked about doing, behind the scenes pictures of models, and then maybe we don't want to give away our ideas. And do something with Rob, and maybe another one with somebody else, just going through their specific interests, like Rob's are helmets, and John's are models, and there's other aspects of Star Wars that we kind of want to look at, and with somebody who is in that, has that passion that they want to talk about. Also, there's gonna be a video probably next week or the week after. It's gonna be a room tour of mine, and it's gonna compare the way my old room used to look compared to now, how it looks now. That's something we've been planning on doing for a long time, just never happened. We were planning on doing that with a couple of us. I think Matt was thinking about doing it, and you were even thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
But we only had one of us do it, and that was real early in our shows. And it's terrible. Don't go back and watch it. It's terrible. It's all choppy and fucked up. I'm just going to make it better this time.
Well, because we did it like a true room tour. 'Cause it's just like everybody does today, where they take the camera and they walk around. And then it was after the fact we realized it's best to take the images, sit down, and go through the images and discuss them.
Right. So that should be within 2 weeks, as long as my job holds out. It's not beasting me like it has been. I also have a couple of videos coming up, build videos of the Sandcrawler. I have a finished build for a build video finishing up the silo, which I'm really happy with that thing. I'm so glad though. At first I was unsure how I felt about it, mainly because I'm looking at it from my perspective as my own work, which everybody's their own worst critic, but the more I look at it, the more I'm really happy with it. And, it's a pretty unique piece that, I don't know anybody else who has one. Or maybe just nobody wants one, so you never know. I think I sent you a picture of it.
It's like we said, that's what we were mentioning. That's a great example of a piece where people look at that and probably think, you know what? I don't know, that might be too complex. Or maybe it's not too complex, but I don't know, something like that may be too expensive.
Yeah.
And it's not that
that one would be.
Yeah, and it's not a cheap one. But there are alternatives. There are some cast kits available and that make it reasonable. If you just want to tackle it for the sake of tackling that particular project, it is doable.
Yes.
And it's one of those things that if somebody has interest, then I know what it's like, and this has been a long discussion throughout the past 10, 15 years in the studio scale community of the amount of time, effort, energy that goes into figuring out and deciphering how these things were made. But I have no problem, like, if me and you sat down and figured something out, or at least we thought to the best of our knowledge that we've eliminated 99% down to this is what it could possibly be. I have no problem if somebody reaches out and says, hey, I saw that you built this, or that you guys worked on that. I have no problem sharing that information. So long as I know I didn't go to like Joe Smith and he gave me all the, the entire recipe, then I wouldn't want to just throw it out there. But if it's something that, we've worked on, there's stuff that has been worked on and has been shared that even me and you have gone a little farther and been like, hey, there's something here that people missed, or there's a piece here that, has been overlooked. And I'm not one of those people that's like, hey, let's keep this under our hats. Because that's how you learn and that's how you improve. And it's the only way it's going to grow. And the more that it's like when I share something with you and you're like, hey, I'm going through this kit. This piece looks like this. It might be that. And if you don't do that, then I feel like that's where some of the complacent and stagnant sort of issues arise.
Yeah, like I don't want to share somebody else's work unless they're okay with it. I have
but
no
if
problem
it's
sharing.
something, but if something where we spent countless hours on it, I have no problem helping somebody out and saying, hey, this is at least what I think it is, or I feel confident in thinking what this is.
Like I get asked, I've gotten asked a couple times about things that I did not do the work on. And, I do have some information that I am not allowed to share. And I don't want to hurt that relationship that I have with those people. There's so I try to not, sometimes I may mess up and let something slip that I'm not supposed to, but honestly, if like with this thing, I would tell you any part that you want to know. Like if you called me, and I mean, most of this is pretty not easy to figure out, but like the ones that I figured out down the bottom here on the top, if somebody asks me, I'm going to be like, yeah, hey, have at it. Go do it, man.
Yeah.
I'm not keeping it to myself. So, and, I kind of understand the concept behind, doing all the work and then just, I think the fear there really is not that they want to not share, but I feel like that they just they don't want somebody to take it and change it and use it for their own financial gain.
Which is and that's a genuine concern because it's been an actual issue.
Yes,
that's something that has taken place and people have done where someone's been nice enough to say, hey, this is A, this is B, this is C. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later, you're seeing kits available. So that's a little frustrating. I agree.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons why, and they're all valid reasons. But I do think it's also part of how you learn, understand, and grow with getting these things right and getting these things, down to a science of how they did it and why.
Yeah.
I like the idea of sitting and speculating and, sort of determining what they would assume would be sort of a real world piece, so to speak, an in-universe real world piece, and what would be a functioning piece. Because you don't just slap things on just because. They have to have a little bit of, has to be a little bit of method to the madness. Yeah, there's some reasoning behind it for sure.
Like these they probably looked at real silos, and a lot of them have pipes that come down with machinery below to pump up whatever corn or water or whatever goes into these things, and it just makes sense that there'd be stuff down here to do that. And then even up here, it would make sense that these would be lights that shine down on whatever is down in here, but yeah, this became an obsession with me, and just something that I really wanted. And it's funny because it just started as I watched John Simmons' show on his video on Death Star towers, and I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of cool." And I'd never even seen it before, so I was like, "What the hell? I'll just I'll ask him about it." He sent them to me, and now he wants them back. He wants to make one as well now. So I sent him parts to do that. So this is the last thing I just finished, and I tried to emulate to make it look a lot like John's crane that I got from him. I think I did pretty good, pretty decent.
Yeah,
it matches well. And then another funny thing happened right here. Okay, so have this displayed. The shadows gave me these drip lines. These aren't painted on here. They weren't painted on here. If you look at these other pictures, they're not on here. Well, see, they're not really on there. That's the shadows in this picture here. Okay, so I was like, ooh, I kind of like how that. Damn it, I went too far. I said, ooh, I kind of like how that looks with all the drip lines here. So I went back and I actually ended up painting those drip lines on so that they were there whether the light's shining on them or not. Because I was afraid that if I put that on, I thought about it, but then I was afraid, all right, if I put that on, it's going to be too much, too weathered, too dark, too, And then once I saw it from the shadows, I really liked it. And I went back and just touched it up a little bit. So, and then, I still, honestly, Jason, like I still look at this thing every day. I'm looking at this damn thing. I freaking love this thing.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet piece, man.
It is. It's unreal how good it is.
Yeah.
And like we talked about before, like this is not screen accurate painting, which is actually fine by me because I don't particularly like the screen accurate painting of it. This is a little more idealized with all the rust and stuff. The real one has like dark marks going down here. And that's not something I like that much, but I like this a lot. So I think I'm pretty close to being done with Death Star Towers. I think I got just the one yet from you. That's it. I'm not buying any more Death Star Towers.
Yeah.
I'm going back to background ships again. Death Star Towers, background ships.
I agree. I'm gonna start going back to after I top off a few projects that I'm finishing up now. I'm gonna start back up on some of the concept stuff.
Are you? Like what?
Yeah. Currently working on scratching together a concept walker. Not the one that everybody knows, with the little skinny head. There's actually a couple 3D kits of it. But it looks more like it's screen used counterpart, but going through some little drawings and sketches of Joe Johnston's work, there's a really interesting one where, although it looks at a quick glance, it looks like the one we all know. A lot of the details are different and unique in their own way, and I really liked the take on it, and I thought it was interesting. And part of me even thought, like, why didn't they go in this direction? And I figured out, like, oh, it was probably easier as they were trying for this to pull from kits and, like, oh, this looks close enough, and then it starts to take on a life of its own. But I think I'm going to tackle that just because I just like the aesthetic of it. And
You showed that to me, right? Yeah,
I did. I don't have it currently available, but I did show it to you a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Do you mind if I? Do you mind if I show that?
It's one of the
I'm
ones
saying
that's out there, but it's not widely out there.
I don't think I have that picture unless you send it to me. I don't. It'd take me a while to find it.
Yeah, I did, but it's probably buried in
Buried,
a bunch of images and yeah.
in all the porn that you send me. There is one thing do you mind if I show that tower that tower that you showed me earlier today?
Okay, that's another one I want to get a little bit more information on those and see if there's different scales or sizes or.
So just bear with me for a second. I'm saving it so on my desktop so I can zoom in on it. I hate just looking at these pictures and not being able to zoom in on them. So I didn't recognize this. This is a new one to me. When you sent it to me, I was like, what is that? I mean, obviously it's a Death Star tower, but I didn't know it was a Ralph McQuarrie Death Star tower. It's pretty cool, pretty radical.
It is, and the colors are so indicative of Ralph's work.
Now, Ralph's work wasn't very rusted and dirty. It was very clean cut. And so, is this a piece up here? Is that a part of it?
Yeah, it's like a little radar dish.
Okay.
But if you notice, kind of like the McQuarrie Besman Cloud City, go up a little bit towards the top. It's got all the little go down right there. Yeah, no, in between. No, go above. Right. Yeah.
There.
See all the little bits in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, but between the layers. No, go above that line.
Above here.
Yeah, there. Yeah, I like all the little smaller intricacies in between.
Now, don't make me have to build this freaking thing, because that would be cool with all my other Death Star towers now.
I know. There's a Joe Johnston one too, but there's no color to it. It's just in black and white, which I'm sure that's been seen quite a bit. but you kind of
the
have to like.
concept stuff is really, really appealing to me lately because it's something nobody else has, which is always good. Like that's a good thing about studio scale modeling is that almost every piece is a unique piece. Okay. And there really isn't too many that are all that similar unless you have somebody doing a run, like, you know, they make like 20 of them and they paint them exactly the same, you know, but um this wouldn't be that hard to do.
No, I don't think so.
No. I mean, even if you just scratch built this out of styrene and popped on a few of these parts that I'm sure these aren't, you know, these are just parts that somebody put on thinking it looks like it because there's no, you know, model kit reference for this stuff. But like those cloud cars that you have, the concept cloud cars, I want that. Like that, I want more than I have 2 cloud car kits that I have to build, and I'm gonna end up selling 2 of them, you know. So because I want the smaller concept ones, and even like the
Size-wise.
A-wing, yeah, size wise, especially. Even like my A-wing, I had a studio scale one I had, and the Lassie Henning one, and they're both bigger. Which in the beginning, I didn't like. I didn't like it that much. So I sold both of those, and I kept John's little maquette one that was built from kit parts. That's in a McCory style. So I think I'm gonna, yeah, I want a concept cloud car for sure. That looks like an antenna dish.
Yeah, it's like a little antenna / radar dish thing going on.
Man, I'm gonna get rid of this and bring up some Joe Johnston concept pictures off of Google Images, just to kind of look at them.
Go for it. Let's do it.
Got some really great stuff in those books. Those little blue books, you know, which I just recently bought. So like here is, let's see, this is a concept AT-AT. Oh, damn it. No, I'm not gonna be able to bring it up. I have to go to this. Okay, this will work. Concept AT-AT.
Yeah.
Which
Got an interesting little tank feel to it.
Which what they did was they took this then and they made a vehicle in the Clone Wars based off of this.
That's right. They did.
Yeah, they did. Which I like. I've always liked that one. Here's another AT-AT concept.
That one's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Somebody told me they were going to work on one of these. I forget who it was. Somebody told me they were going to build one of these.
Oh, I think I remember who, but I'm not. Just in case they don't.
Yeah, I don't remember who that was. Look at this. It's interesting. Damn, I wish I could just bring them up.
Yeah, isn't that funky, huh?
What the heck is it? That's a walk.
The head
It's
of an
AT-AT
AT-AT.
head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. 11/19/78. Right after Star Wars. If you get a chance to,
just cranking away on different designs, and
honestly, if you get a chance, if anybody listening gets a chance, pick up those Joe Johnston concept artwork books. They're pretty great. You could sit there and look at them and like page through them.
they are fantastic books. Just don't pay. For some reason, there's a few out there listed at high prices.
Mhm.
All they are is images. I mean, unless you're somebody who's like a completist or you want your books in mint condition, just pick a copy up for $10 or $15.
Yeah, they're cheap on eBay.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing though. Some of them that are in like really nice condition can run like $50, $75 a piece. But unless you want them like mint or brand new, just get a cheap copy. They're definitely worth flipping through.
So now this is the X-Wing, Macquarie X-Wing. Damn it, why does it do that? And then the Macquarie X-Wing pilot.
Yep.
No sexy Ahsoka on this video. Oh, here's one. A couple of people have done this recently. The guy a guy close to me made one, designed it and 3D printed it. Was it going to show up?
Which wasn't bad. You remember you picked one up for me?
Yeah, I got it for you. Oh, here's the concept book.
There's a book, yeah. There's a Star Wars and Empire, and I think there's a Return of the Jedi one too.
You know what? I never noticed the Sandcrawler before. I'll have to go back and look at that. You never did make that, did you?
I did, yeah. I made it.
Did you?
Yep.
Oh, so somebody
It's a
built
nice
one.
build. It's not bad.
No.
Yeah, so it's a decent build. I mean, it gives you a few options where there's no real rhyme or reason from start to finish. There's definitely a handful of pieces where you can kind of take creative liberty, which I think is cool.
Subscribe to your newsletter. This is one of the concepts that Merlin Models had in their couple of snowspeeder offerings.
Yeah, that's interesting, huh?
I don't know how much I like that one. That looks more like the Jetsons than a Star Wars thing. Here's this they stole for those ridiculous ape walkers in one of those new movies, Last Jedi, right? Oh, here's another one. That's cool.
That's cool, yeah.
There. It's different.
Much more contemporary and streamlined. Looks more modern.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, these books are actually pretty fascinating. Here's Joe Johnston.
I flip through these all the time. I mean, they're not very thick books. They're not hundreds of pages, but for what they are, they're definitely books I find myself picking up more often than not, flipping through.
Yeah. This isn't much different than the Slave one that we got, but slightly, just a little bit. Like I probably wouldn't get into building one of these because it's very, very similar.
Yeah, a little stubby, a little bit more jam-packed.
Yeah. But the Macquarie one, that's a little different. That one's way out there in left field.
That's definitely, yeah, it's the best way to say it. That one's out there.
Out there, yeah. It looks like a freaking beetle. Now, this is not Joe Johnston. This is, who's the other guy? Nyla?
That might be Nyla, yeah.
Now, look, these are just, the wings are backwards. It's pretty much the same as the real one, but the wings are backwards. You know, I honestly, I'll be honest, I kind of have you to thank for putting me on to the concept stuff, because before that I had appreciation of it, but it wasn't something I was really all that interested in. And the more you talked about it, the more, and the fact that you got a couple pieces in yourself, that's when I really started.
We were talking about that recently. Remember all the pushback I used to get trying to discuss and introduce, even like in the community in general. It wasn't 2 years ago, even. It wasn't as widely accepted or sought after as it is today. People were just very like, well, okay, yeah, I can understand. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's not really my thing. And I used to get that all the time. Even you're like, yeah, I can appreciate it, but it's not really my cup of tea.
Right. Yeah. Now I love it. Hey, we got our first comment for the night. What's up, Donald? How's it going? Glad you could join us. We're just sitting here shooting the shit, talking about some models. Don't care who's watching. Don't care if anybody's listening or not. I'm bored in my hotel, so we're just sitting here yakking, looking at some concept stuff. And it's funny because there's always something that I come across that I haven't seen before. Like, look at these legs.
Concept stuff. People don't realize the concept stuff is it's chock full, right? It's almost
Yeah.
endless. There's so much stuff, and then it starts getting to a point where you start to piece together the puzzle of like, oh, this is where this started, and this is what it evolved into, and this is what we know it is today.
Yeah. So let's see if I can get back to where I was.
Then there's some concept stuff where people are like, no, there's no way, nah, no. And then there's
Yeah.
concept stuff where we've mentioned this before on previous shows that it's actually found its way into current day Star Wars. You know, whether it's the
Oh
sequels
yeah.
or whether it's the cartoons or, and Doug Chiang has definitely made it a point to borrow from the past to bring into the present, both
Yeah.
as an homage and just as an appreciation for what they had already done.
Here's Concept Falcon.
Yep.
It's pretty different. I like that a lot, actually. I've seen somebody made one of those before, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was nice. That was nice.
Yeah. I have no idea who did it. So now this is this a Joe Johnston one?
I
guess
believe
if
so.
it's
Yeah.
on- Man,
Put up
so
a
many
great
different
picture.
designs for
These are great images to go through right here.
Yeah, so many different images of the AT-AT. I mean, they're all very different.
And I love how some of these is a scale to show you compared to, a human body.
Yeah, these are pretty cool. I've never seen these before. See, number 35.
Mm-hmm.
So he drew up
On his legs.
35 different AT-ATs. It's coming close there. Got the guns on the back.
Yeah. And then think about being met with the task. I think it was John Berg who actually implemented the system where as the AT-AT is walking, the discs on the legs are spinning in real time.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. See, now this looks like a McQuarrie version, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
That is a Ralph. So that is Ralph's sketch.
yeah, it's Ralph's sketch, but here we go again. Did Joe design it and Ralph drew it? Or was Ralph the brains behind these concepts? I feel like it's probably Joe that was the main, like this here. Who came first, the chicken or the egg? Right?
They worked so close together. I mean, they basically
Okay.
worked in tandem, right? They worked on a lot of stuff at the same time. I think they were just bouncing ideas off each other, drawing things with one another. I mean, look at this little cloud car too.
I
I
know.
mean,
I was just
that's a
looking
cool
at
little
that.
concept. Throw the wing in the middle. That's
These are
interesting.
not in our books, right? These are not in the books.
These,
yeah, books.
I forget what books. Some of these are, and I forget what books they're in.
I want to save these pictures. I'm going to save these because a couple of these, not all of these are in the book. Look at the pilots in this circle here.
Yeah.
Save image. I'm going to save them. Let's make a folder so I can come back to them later. Rename them. Oh yeah, pretty sweet. Damn it, did it again.
Well, let's go through some of the images and you go back and save them.
Yeah, I'm going to. But every time I go on, bring up a big image of it, and I exit out, I lose it. You know what I mean?
I see. Yeah. Well, just when you open an image next time, just open it in a new tab so you can close it out and scroll.
Let's see if I can do that. Open link in new tab. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's any you want to see specifically.
Even the foot. See how the foot uses a comparison for the soldier?
Yep. Even that's
13 feet high.
But I mean, the current, the real one, the screen use one has a longer shin though.
Yeah.
Like this picture here just makes me wonder, did Joe draw it? And then did Joe come up with it? And then Ralph painted a picture, you know. This one's different too.
It's got a Galactica style to it.
It does. There we go. It's odd, huh?
Yeah. Very streamlined.
Have you seen this before?
Yep.
Okay. Irish Jedi. I got these books off of eBay. That's where I got mine. I don't know if you can get them on Amazon. They're not new. They're not being currently printed. Damn, I just did that again. Yeah, like even this one's different. Doesn't have the fin down the back.
Yeah.
This is more in line with yours, the one that you have, right?
It is, yeah. It has the
Does
bottom
it?
fins in the yep. It does. The concept one I have has the bottom fins.
And a lot of I know you have these Greeblies on top, right?
Yep.
So is this the orange one or the blue one?
The one I have, this is painted orange.
Okay. But you could paint it blue. Is it the same thing?
I think so. I think it's pretty close.
Oh,
I
hey,
don't-
Kevin. How's it
Same
going?
thing.
Kevin Kelly.
Hey, Kevin.
Now, Yoda,
How bad Yoda looked, huh?
concept Yoda, I think is horrendous.
He never looks good in concept, especially in those drawing books with the elf helmet on and the little
Looks
elf
like an
hood.
old woman with saggy boobs.
Yeah.
That
It took
I
them a
don't
lot
like
to
at
get
all.
Yoda right.
Now, this I don't really care for either.
No, that looks like it's like whoa, whoa, like
Yeah.
it's gonna topple.
And top lower. But look, it's got these samurai Boba
Style,
Fett's in there.
yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Now, what's this? Imperial Snowtrooper.
That's Boba Fett / Snowtrooper, yeah.
I like that helmet. I like that helmet. There's got to be more of this. I like this. This is cool. This is fun.
Yeah,
I
if you
guess I
go
don't
to
need
the
this.
top, there's more. If you go to the top, I think there's others.
Is there?
Yeah, I
Sure.
think if you go to, there's like wardrobe and props. I've been on the site a few times.
Props, archive. Let's look at props. Death Star Tower, section of the Jedi Death Star. Pingu. Oh, these are not Star Wars. Apocalypse Now, nude picture. This is not Star Wars.
I think you can
Wardrobe.
I think you can just go to Star Wars in the search bar, see what comes up.
All right. Apparently, I was on this site before.
Yo, Cookie says so.
Dude, better not show them all my other cookies. Now this is scary.
That is so scary.
So
Look at the look at how they built the base of the. I'll show you in a second.
Look at that thing.
Ugh.
That's the stuff of nightmares.
Dude, that's a 3-pack a day habit right there.
Yeah.
That's the-
And no makeup waking up in the morning.
yeah.
Man,
Dude, that's the Marlboro man without his makeup and his hat on.
that's bad. What were you
Look
going
at
to show
this,
me?
Chris. That's a cool image. Go over one more. So it's the
This
base of the the base of the sandcrawler, and they sketched it out to be like, hey, this is what it's gonna look like. Yeah. How cool is
That is
that, man?
cool.
Look at that.
That is cool. That'd be something
Love
worth
that.
buying.
Yeah. That's a great image.
Wonder how much it sold for. Of course, they're not going to
Could
tell
have
you.
been much.
Okay.
Yeah, what a fantastic image that is.
Space Phantom Menace. Frog. No, thank you. Tom Jung. Oh, that's just a current artist, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's just great stuff on here. Storyboards. I've never.
This is where some of the good stuff's found sometimes, though.
I'm never interested in storyboards. Every book I have that has storyboards, I just gloss right through them.
Storyboards, I think, are good. I think they're good counterparts to, like, if you have like a lineage helmet or production helmet or like a back foam or a buck or something production that you can put the storyboard with. I think they're good pieces for that.
Yeah, that would be a good thing for them. But like when I look at books and they have storyboards, I'm like, I don't really care. I've seen the movie already. Yeah, Kevin hit the nail on the head there. Everybody knows Ralph, but Joe's concept contributions seem really underappreciated. I feel like they're starting to become more appreciated than they were.
Yeah, I don't think people realize to what extent.
I did not.
Go to Chris. Go before you scroll down. Go to that very last image, all the way to the right.
This one?
Yeah. Nope, you had it. Yeah.
This one?
Look at that. Yeah.
That's sweet.
It's a pretty interesting little probe, huh?
Yeah. I gotta get Lee. I gotta get Lee to make a second one for me.
I know. I don't think people realize, because we think concept, the first thing that comes to mind is Macquarie, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we realize how much of a contribution Joe really had, and because he was doing storyboard, he was doing design, he was doing concept. So Ralph was just painting and doing conceptual work to bring to life the images and ideas. Ralph didn't transition over into painting helmets and building models, but you had Joe.
Joe was the man.
He was working closely with Ralph, conceptualizing things.
Yep.
Then he was going and bringing these things to fruition, to life in real time by building models, painting helmets, like really, and then doing the storyboards. So here was somebody who's sort of the jack of all trades when it came to Star Wars. And I think it is one of those things where people don't take into consideration or realize how much was really put in.
And it seems like, come on, why ain't that coming up?
That's the one. The picture you're pulling up now, though, is the one I was talking about, where this is the one everybody's familiar with for the concept walker. But there's one that's much closer to the finished product that I really like.
Yeah.
Although this one's interesting. I don't mind this one.
This was used in Rebels. I feel like when you're talking about Star Wars concept, Ralph McQuarrie gets a lot of the credit, and probably seems like he gets a lot of the credit for people that actually did the work. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, McQuarrie did a lot, but I feel like, like Joe Johnston's designs are major, and then McQuarrie kind of got credit for it, but because he made the paintings for them.
Yeah. Well, even as you start reaching closer to Jedi, you have Nyla Rhodes-Amaro, who worked very closely with Joe. And I mean, he came up with things like Leia Boge, and even though Joe did some concept sketches on her, the Biker Scouts, which we know that a couple of the guys were heavily involved with, but just from a conceptual point of view to bring it to fruition again, there's just a lot more hands in the cookie jar than people realize, because again, we watch a lot of these documentaries, we read a lot of these behind the scenes excerpts and books and whatnot, and some things get skated over very, very quickly.
I like this one. It's one of my favorites. Snowspeeder concept. It's based off of a Y-wing cockpit. But I'm looking forward to this one from Merlin, to be honest.
This is gonna be a great piece. And I had the situation I had with this piece was a blessing in disguise, because I almost paid a decent amount of money for one that wasn't very good at all. So I'm glad
I would say it was bad.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't for the price. It wasn't up to par.
Right. But this is a sweet piece. This is going to be a good one. This one has to
Yeah,
get
but
made.
this is a fun one because it still has the aesthetic of the snow speeder, and then it
Mhm.
has the familiarity of because of the Y wing. It's
Mhm.
just got the all around Star Wars feel and aesthetic to it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is something we haven't done before. We haven't. Is this? We haven't gone through like we've gone through Macquarie stuff, but we haven't gone through. No, that's not Joe Johnston's work. Really,
Oh, so much of it.
there is a lot. There's a lot of Joe Johnston artwork. A lot. I
I
mean,
love that when he's playing with the Cantwell models. One of my favorite
do I.
images.
It's pretty. Come on, man. Really, just garbage. Now I'm gonna get all kinds of spam. I'm not gonna find that link. The thing I don't like about
But there you
Google
go. See,
Image.
he's working hands on in real time.
Yep. Love that haircut.
Oh, dude, it's so 1970s.
Yeah. And he really afterwards even furthered his career even more. He became a director of some pretty well-known what is
Yeah, he did Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He did
Yeah.
Rocketeer. Did
Yep.
the first Captain America. And it's funny because he was so burnt out from Star Wars, and he says it. He was like, "Look, I was doing storyboards. I was doing conceptual art. I was working hands-on doing the models and costumes." He was like, at that point, I was about to cash in my chips and just go see the world and spend a little money. And George was
Yep.
like, "Hey, man, I'll pay for you to go to school and to learn, directing and movie making." And Joe was just like, "How could I pass that up?" And yeah, he let
Yeah.
George put him through school and continue working. And yeah, he went on to direct some great films. And
I'm sure he's happy he did.
well, yeah, I mean, how many people do you know in the film industry can say, "Hey, I done everything from conceptual to storyboard to practical effects to directing to," you know what I mean? You usually have
Yeah.
like actors turn directors. You don't have somebody who can cover everything from, storyboard to what you see on camera. Yes, yeah, I like the blue. I like the blue a lot.
Usually I say I don't, but you know what's gonna happen is like that's gray underneath there. There's blue and gray there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see one made and I'll be like, oh, damn it, I actually do need to get that. It never fails. Oh, where's that picture that was just there?
I really like that blue.
Yeah, I'm sure that would look cool next to the orange one that you have. And they're small. So like it doesn't matter. I could make both of them.
Yeah, you can do two of them. You're right.
Yeah. I'm not so much
That
fan of
feels
this
more
one.
like a race car.
Yeah. I wish we could go through that book because there's a lot of cool stuff there. Let's say Empire.
It's gonna have most of the images if you click on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. That was used in Attack of the Clones then.
Yep.
Oh, here's the one you were talking about. Isn't this the one you were talking about?
No, it's a little different. It's close to it though. It
I could've
must
sworn
have
this
been
is
in
the
the
picture
same
you
line
sent
of.
me.
No, it looks very similar, but it's close to it. The feet are more closer to the what we see on screen, but the top part is a little bit more towards this one.
Oh yeah, it's got like a
It's like a mixture in between. There's like two or three of these images, Chris, floating around, and very slowly they evolve to what we know now. But yeah, this is pretty much close to what I want to do.
This is a site I used to live on. It was comic art fans, and they have like comic book artists and sketches and comic story pages from the actual artists. I spent a lot of time on this site, and to find this on here is pretty cool.
Let me see stuff right. I just want to see what it says. Go to strong into the okay. Monthly hours of okay. I just didn't know if it was done later or if it was an earlier piece and you just acquired it then, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's a cool original piece to own.
it is. Wonder if there's any more on here, Joe Johnson. You'll find a lot of my artwork that I had bought on here. Yeah, here's a couple more.
It's great how they discuss like, oh, the walkers are going to crash during the battle, so they drew even in the conceptual form what they're going to look like dropping and.
See if there's any that I've never seen before.
Little TIE bomber.
Look at this one. This guy owns this.
And Boba Fett. That's cool.
This guy owns this. First draft. Storyboard done by John Johnson. Oh, this was the first drafts were later redrawn, photocopied, stamped with an original ILM number. The original ones are in. This is a copy of the original one.
That's cool.
What's this? Oh, wow.
That's a concept TIE pilot. Dude, how badass would it be to have one of those helmets?
That is pretty badass. I never saw that before. Have you?
Like not in this. I've seen a few of the concept TIE pilot images similar to this, but not this particular image, no.
No.
It's similar to how the concept Stormtrooper looks. So just like they did in real life where they took the Stormtrooper faceplate and made it a tie, they kept some continuity there, even in the conceptual form.
Yeah, there's the teeth or whatever they call that.
Yeah, and the tubes, and
That's a cool
that would
piece.
be a great piece.
Here, I'll save that picture. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that'd be a great. I really wish, there was some ambitious. It's just I feel like today so much of that, unlike 15 years ago where it would have been designed in clay. Today a lot of that's just 3D rendered, and you never know if the proportions are correct or how big or small something should be.
Well, I mean, you look at that and you can kind of judge it based off of how big a person's head is. But this is going to be either it's going to be pretty huge, big, or it's going to be more in the forefront. It's proportional to the rest of the rest of the head. But even the collar, like this is more of like a armor rather than a flight suit,
Yeah. And instead of the tubes going to the chest, they're going to the back.
Yeah. You ever go on this site? It's a pretty interesting site. A lot of cool stuff on there.
I've been on it a few times, just finding it direct or indirect by searching through other things. Like just happenstance,
Oh, is this a Joe Johnson piece? Damn it. Come on, man. I lost it. There it is.
Yeah, that is. You can tell by the drawing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Contacts are drying out. Very elusive pictures of the space trooper.
Yeah.
Like this was made into a Hasbro toy.
That was. You're right.
Yeah.
One of 3 or 4 that they did with the concept nod. Yeah.
This one specifically. I don't know how much a fan of that I am.
No, it's a little too futuristic.
Yeah. And this one's cool.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
You just
looks
never,
like it's something that could have already when it looks like something that could have almost been used, it tends to have more of a relation to it.
Wasn't this just used in like Book of Boba or something like that? Something
I
recent?
want to say yes. I could be wrong, but I think something similar to this was definitely utilized recently, or close.
Yeah.
Maybe not the exact close enough to it.
Was it the one that one of the ones they got from that biker gang that they were driving? Him and Cobb Vanth. 'Cause I
Oh, it might
remember
be.
this
Yeah.
part right here, this circular part.
It's
Right?
got almost like look at the driver. Almost has like a Bausch-esque uniform on.
No, I don't see that.
Can't tell. Yeah, it almost has a little bit of a Bausch feel to it.
Looks more like a grandmother on top of a speeder bike
Yeah, she's
with her
smiling like
with her
"Woo!"
garden hat, on. Yeah, like I mean, there's a lot of pictures. If you just go, even the books don't have every picture, but there's 3 books and they're really worth getting. But just like we're doing right now, just go through and see the concepts that Joe Johnson actually came up with. Like he was a major force in the design for Star Wars all around.
Yeah,
He don't get near enough credit that he deserves.
he's pretty humble about it too, which I like.
Yeah. Now look at the backpack. It looks like a snow trooper backpack.
Yeah,
It
it does.
really does.
Definitely looks like a snow trooper backpack.
That's an exact snow trooper backpack. Pretty. Like look at all these things that they have.
I wonder what the insignia is. Like, I wonder what
Yeah.
some of those markings were about.
Yeah, you can see them a little better here on the color ones. This one here.
I don't know if there's like a rhyme or reason to them. Because look at all the different ones.
It's very different, yeah. This one looks like 2 people coupling. This looks like an upside down bat. This one, a third eye. It's pretty cool. I haven't seen these pictures either. There's a lot of these I haven't seen.
I love how he has like the force thing that like picks up the gun out of his chest. Yeah.
That's a new one for me.
You haven't seen these yet?
No, I have not.
Yeah, these are part of that book that they released where it came with the set of signs she clays.
Yeah, the one you told me about a while ago. I have it on my eBay search list and never pings.
Never comes up. One of them came
Never.
up in prop store, but that was it. It
Just glad we didn't-
goes around the leg.
Glad we didn't get colors like that.
That's so 70s.
It's so amazing to me to think, okay, like you look at these things, these concept drawings, and then what we end up actually getting. Like if you look at this stuff, you're just like, oh, it's cool to look at as a
Look at the
concept.
whale wall right there of hold on, go back up. One more. Look at the whale wall of
Slave.
yeah, slave.
Um,
Every last little detail. Look at that. That's cool.
it's very similar to the original, to the real one. Like this 8 rad pieces on it.
Yeah.
The wing is backwards.
Remember we did that show too, like what came first, the model or the image?
Mm-hmm.
And we realized that like they were throwing together models and then sketching the images off of some of the model ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, they had to have. I mean, you can't come up with kit parts in your head, you know. You kind of had to have like the thing right in front of you to draw it off of. Now we're getting into out of it. Oh wow! Look at that. Crazy.
Yeah.
Thank God we got what we did. These are cool to look at as concept pieces, but
Well, here's the thing though. Would you know any better? Right, Chris?
I don't know. Like I look at this, and even if it was outside of Star Wars, I still look at it. And I'm just like, no wonder they didn't pick these things. You know,
I know,
like,
but if we had this in the movie, we were currently sitting here looking at concept drawings of what we know to be the piece. We could be saying the same thing, like, "Oh, imagine if we got that," right? Because you're just so used to it.
I mean, look at that. That doesn't look like any of the other stuff that's in Star Wars. You know, like all the stuff that's there now, like the snow speeder and the X-wing and the Y-wing, they kind of look like they're in the same world. The cloud car is one of those pieces that doesn't. That looks outside of the rest of everything else. Like I would look at this and I'd be like,
It does, but it does flick. Ironically, it fits Cloud City very well.
yeah, yeah.
Because
Cloud car really was something I never really. I remember as a kid looking at the thing and be like, I don't like that at all. Like it's just like I had the toy and I was like, I don't really like this toy. It's goofy looking. And even I feel that way a little bit today, even with the cloud car. Like I like the concept cloud car because it's cool and different, but I'm not even a huge. I like the colors of the cloud car, like the different panels and stuff. That's fascinating to me, but like the shape of it kind of takes me out of Star Wars sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. It puts me more into like Star Trek even.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, that's so not Star Wars.
This is George Jetson. You know, but then they used it for Dooku's ship in Attack of the Clones.
Yep.
They just added that big wind sail, which is this. Well, this was fun. We're just going through, looking at some concept. Joe Johnson. I didn't think this was going to be a Joe Johnson show, but
Go up a little bit. I want to see the
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem. I just want to see that picture before I lost it. Like
That's kind of cool.
It is cool.
A good
Wish I could
bulber in
zoom
the
in on
cockpit.
Can I zoom in on it? Open image in new tab. Now where's my tab? There it is.
Yeah, look at
Yeah.
that. 79.
That's pretty cool.
Is that a character right there?
This here is very close to the Macquarie one.
Yeah.
Very. This would be an interesting picture to keep. Definitely. That's very close to the Macquarie concept one. Now, what did you want to see? I'll go back to that. Is there anything cool in here? Matt
Anything going on there? Is that just the...
What's that?
Anything fun in the background? I just want to see if there's anything interesting in the background of that image. Not really.
No, I don't see anything. That was the matte painting area.
Dude, matte painting and practical effects back then was so intriguing.
I mean, look at this. It looks like a real thing. There's a matte painting.
Yeah, it's pretty radical.
I mean, seriously. It looks like an actual model kit built. This is what I was wondering. Okay. We've talked about it. This is Lauren Peterson, and I forget this gentleman's name. But, like, this is an almost finished Slave One, right?
Yeah.
So, and they changed it. This is different. They don't have these diagonal pieces. Most of this is pretty much the same. But in the build, like you can see, I wonder why they took these things off. Be interesting to find. I'm sure we'll never know, but what did you want to see?
Oh, yeah, it was just that showing a comparison of the snowtroopers. I just didn't know if those are two.
Yeah.
I think that was a modern. Oh yeah, it's just a modern day and then an older one. Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, this is from Clone Wars. It's very similar. Get some of these tabs away before I.
Yeah, that Yoda is horrendous.
Oh God, I hate Concept Yoda.
He looks like a little
Abs-
gypsy, like coming to pickpocket you, doesn't he?
Absolutely don't like it at all. Now there's Joe today. Why doesn't he still have his cool haircut, man?
He's losing that hair. He's getting old, brother.
Yeah, I know that all too well. All right.
All the ideations of Boba Fett, huh? You can do a whole
So-
show just on Boba Fett variations.
I know. I mean, I'll be honest. I really like the Super Trooper look of him.
Oh, I love it.
So
Love
do
it.
I. Wonder if there's more. Nope. Damn. Come on, give me pictures. No one's giving me the only one picture. Kill me. All right. Well, I guess that's good. I mean, we've been on for an hour and 45 minutes with 5 people watching the whole time. So
Doesn't even seem like it.
yeah, it doesn't. I do have to get up for work. Oh, it's 12 o'clock. It's after midnight. I have to get up at 6 tomorrow. So, you good, Jay?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for joining, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, look at that. Why? Don't make me lose that. Just had a really good picture. I lost it. There's a bunch of different Boba Fett helmets.
I know you're not a fan of autographs, and I say it all the time, but you know that image that everybody loves of Lucas standing in the middle of all the props? It would have been cool to have the one of Joe signed and like framed up where he stands.
Yeah, I do like those.
Because that's just
like I said,
that's just got its own feel to it. Right there.
I got
that's a great image. Go up.
Yeah.
Right there. Love that.
If I met him, yes, I would definitely.
It's like
have that.
although George came up with the ideas and shot the movie originally, like these are the guys who actually made this stuff hands on.
Yep. I don't think a lot of people realize that there's a picture of this for most of the model makers. Lauren Peterson.
Oh, there's one
him.
with Lauren, there's one with Joe, there's one with George, there's like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna bum me out. I found a really good picture of those Boba Fett helmets and I lost it. Something like this, but it was more specific. Oh well. Another show. All right, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Group therapy this Friday. I will not be there for group therapy this Friday. I can tell you right now. So you're gonna have to suffer with Steve and Cece and Rob and Jason. So, thanks for joining us, everybody. Good night.
Have a good night.
Let me find the brand.